Have you ever wondered how companies in super regulated industries like pharmaceuticals actually prove their computer systems work perfectly every single time? Well, you're in the right place. We're going to break down computer system validation using a really simple but incredibly powerful framework called the V model. I mean, really think about that for a second. In a world where patient safety and the quality of medicine is on the line, just saying a system works is, well, it's not even close to good enough. You have to be able to prove it with rock-solid documented evidence. So how do you do that? And here it is. This is the heart of the problem. You know, with a piece of paper, if you change something, you can usually see it, an erasure, scratched out ink. But with digital data, you can change a number, a result, a record, and poof, it's like it was never there. This risk is exactly why a formal validation process isn't just a nice to have, it's an absolute must. So what exactly is computer system validation, or CSV? It's pretty straightforward, really. It's the official, written-down process of proving that a system does exactly what you built it to do and that it does it the same way every single time. It's all about creating a bulletproof trail of evidence.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big why. Then I'll introduce you to our roadmap, the V model. And from there, we'll walk through all 5 key stages, right from the initial idea all the way to the final sign-off.
All right, first up, why do we even go through all this trouble? Let me tell you, this isn't just about good IT practice. This is about making sure data is trustworthy and, frankly, about following the law. You see, global authorities, think the FDA in the US and the EMA in Europe, they actually mandate this stuff. The stakes are just incredibly high. We're talking about the quality of medicine, the safety of patients, and all of that depends on having reliable, untampered with data coming out of these computer systems. So, how in the world do you manage such a complex process without getting lost? Well, you use a map. And in the world of CSV, the gold standard map is called the V model. It gives you a crystal clear framework to make sure you get to your destination successfully. Now, the real power of the V model is right there in its shape. It's not just a random letter. It brilliantly connects every single design step you take on the left-hand side with a matching testing step on the right-hand side. It's just a beautifully logical way to make sure nothing gets missed. Okay, let's start our journey. We're heading down the left side of the V. This part is all about planning. Before anyone writes a single line of code or plugs in a server, you have to be incredibly precise about what the system actually needs to do. And you know, it all starts with something really simple, a user need. Maybe a lab technician says, hey, I need a system that can track samples automatically. That single need is what kicks off this whole planning phase, where we build the entire foundation for the project. During this planning stage, 4 absolutely critical documents get created. First, the URS. That's what the user needs. Then, a risk assessment to look for potential problems. A supplier assessment to make sure your vendor is legit. And finally, the validation plan, which is basically the master strategy for the whole thing. Next, we move down the V and get a bit more technical. The specifying stage is where we take the what the user asked for and we translate it into the how for the developers. This is literally where we draw up the system's blueprints. The result here is a bunch of detailed technical documents, your functional and design specifications. But then, and this is so important, a formal check called a design qualification, or DQ, happens. This is to make 100% sure that the technical blueprints perfectly match what the user originally asked for. It's a critical step that confirms you're about to build the right system before you spend a ton of money. All right, we've reached the bottom of the V. The plans are done, the system gets built, and now we start climbing up the right side. This is the verification phase. This is where we create all that documented proof we were talking about. The actual build is, well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. Following those super detailed design documents we just made, the team either codes the software, configures the system, or installs the hardware. This is where the blueprint finally becomes reality. Our first verification test is the installation qualification, or IQ. We're asking really simple but vital questions here. Is the right server installed in the right rack? Is the correct version of the software on it? We're basically just verifying the what and where. Next up is the operational qualification, or OQ. Now we're testing the how. Does every single feature work the way it's supposed to? If you click the save button, does it actually save? If you ask for a report, does it generate the correct one? We test every single function.
And finally, we get to the performance qualification, or PQ. This is the big one, the ultimate real-world test. This is where we check how well the system does its job with real users, real data under normal everyday conditions. We have to prove it works reliably, time and time again. Okay, so you've done all this planning, building, and testing, but how do you tie it all together? How do you prove to an auditor that every single one of those original user requirements was actually tested and passed? Well, that is the job of one of the most important documents in this entire process, the traceability matrix.
And this table just shows you how brilliant it is. Look, you can literally see how a user requirement, this URS F51 right here, is directly linked to a specific design spec, which is then proven by this exact OQ test step. It creates a perfect, unbroken chain of evidence from the initial request to the final proof. It's awesome. We've done it. We have climbed all the way to the peak of the V model. All the planning, all the building, all the testing, it's complete. Now it's just time to wrap it all up and formally close out the project. In this final phase, it really all comes down to two key things. First, making sure every single person who will use the system is properly trained and that the training is documented. And second, gathering up every document we've created on this journey and summarizing it all. And all of that work culminates in the grand finale, the final validation report. This one document tells the whole story. It summarizes everything we did, presents the test results, and officially declares that the system is fit for its intended use. Once that report gets signed and approved, the system is officially validated. It's ready to go live. But here's the final twist. The journey is never really over. A system isn't just validated one time. It has to be kept in a validated state. And that means any future changes, a software patch, an upgrade, anything, it has to go through a formal change control process to prove the system is still compliant. So in the world of regulated systems, the journey of ensuring quality and integrity, well, it truly never ends.